Okay. All right. Good to see everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I'm going to address a few things first before we dive into questions. I know on Saturday evening I kind of sidestepped the quarterback question from the majority of the people in here. Let me give you a little background. And again, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm going to give you a little bit of who I am. Matt Entz probably leads with his heart on his sleeve a little bit. And so after an emotional loss, an emotional day with our seniors, and again, when you address your team in the locker room, they wear it. You see it. I didn't want to come in here and all of a sudden be hijacked by my emotions and say something that I can't take back, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that needs to communicate with these student athletes. I'm the one that has to communicate with their parents. In this landscape of college football, I communicate with their agents. And so I need to be really mindful of the messaging that I put out there, because just as you guys know, and you see it every day, sometimes when things get put on social media, maybe it was meant with innocent comment. It can always be twisted. It could always be whatever narrative's out there. It could be adjusted. So that was part of the reason why I kind of sidestepped the question a little bit. The second thing, we did make a quarterback decision. I made that decision based on what I see at practice every day. I'm there. I watch it. I come in. I watch it again. There are hours upon hours that our staff is here. I love what I do. I love the young men that are in that locker room. And it's our job as coaches to put us in the best situation to win games on every Saturday. And so that was why the decision was made. The third thing, Utah State, I thought really good football team. I know, the casual fan, the individual in the stands, the people that watch, saw a 5-5 football team. I saw a team that scored 28 points against Vanderbilt, who's trying to get into the college football playoff. I saw a team that scored 21 points against Texas A&M and scared the heck out of me. Not that I'm going to advocate, but I think that quarterback's the best football player in our league right now. When you talk about toughness and just football player, I didn't say quarterback. I said football player. He's tremendous, and he carried that team. He put them on their back in the second half and did a really good job. I thought we had a good plan defensively. We did. He was peeling himself off the ground, but he refused to go down. There were some things I think that we could have done better. As a team, especially, middle of the third quarter and beyond, we got to continue to be better on third down. We had 5 third and shorts during the course of the game, and we converted 0. That's something that we pride ourselves on, is getting into some third and shorts and not being in those third and longs. We did a really good job on first and second down and then sputtered on third down. We gave up some explosive plays. We had 3 penalties that allowed them first downs. We had multiple sacks that were negated because of offsides by our defense. And so just some things that are out of characteristics for us. Things that we can't have. We only had the ball for about 10 minutes in the second half. We wanted, one of the things that we talked about, our edge going into this game was winning the time of possession, and that was going to require an unbelievable buy-in to complementary football, where all 3 phases were going to have to be on point all game long, and we just weren't able to do that. We needed to be on the field longer offensively. We needed to get off the field defensively at different times, and we just weren't able to do that. And then we were relatively balanced. You're right. We need to get the ball into some of our playmakers' hands more often. I need to do a better job of trying to find ways to keep track of that during the course of the game. When you take away the 2-minute throws, we were about 50-50. We ran the ball 22 times and threw it 20. We were in 2-minute mode, twice during the course of the game, and that elevated our throws. But we need to make sure that our impact players can see the ball and get opportunities, because as we saw early in the first half, we have some players that can go the distance. They can have some chunk plays at different times. And then the last thing I'll address, and again, we're 10 days out from signing day. I don't know if I'll get a chance to see people next week, but I know that there's a ton of people on campus, in the community, our vendors, academic people, admissions. There's a multitude of people that are involved in our recruiting that help on a number of different levels. The one thing that I consistently hear from parents is that, the difference of Fresno State is the people. And so I just wanted to take a minute to tell everyone that I do appreciate what they're doing. We're a week away, Wednesday signing date, and really looking forward to this group of young men that are going to join the Bulldogs, and they're going to have an immediate impact on our future. Questions?
Coach, this final game against San Jose State,
Yep.
rivalry game, another trophy to play for. I know you wanted to play for the Mountain West Championship, but this trophy this week, what does it matter to this group going in?
It has to mean something. This is our last regular seasonal game. We still have 25 plus seniors on our football team. I challenged them that we're going to go out the right way. I think getting an 8th win, not something that a lot of people do. And I'm excited about it. I think they're excited about it. This morning's team meeting, there was still frustration. It was easy to see. I tried not to have body language that expressed that, but they know I want to win just as much as anyone. I'm as competitive as anyone on our football team, and I want to put our team in the best situation to win. We have to have a great week, and that's one thing that I'll pound the table. This group has learned how to practice. They've learned how to practice our way, our staff's way. Since the month turned to November, we've challenged them kind of as this is a 5-6 game title fight, and we got to be ready every round. And this is going to be round 4 right now for us in the month of November, and we need to be ready to go. But we talked about the trophy, we talked about the Valley, we talked about the impact. I believe it's one of the longest rivalries we've had, 1921. The trophy's sitting right upstairs where everyone can see it. It'll be at practice. It'll be at meetings. It's the priority, and along with our seniors. I still haven't forgot about them, and we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure the regular season ends the right way.
Not to harp on the quarterback question, but have you decided on a score, or will that be determined through the week?
I think we're in a good place right now. We'll continue to evaluate. We know we need to continue to. There's so many players and positions that we need to improve. And we have. And I need to make sure that I can make that. We have improved dramatically as a football team over the course of the year. Young men buying into a new scheme, new coaches, new face in front of the room. But we're not done coaching. We're going to coach them until the end. And then guess what? We'll keep coaching them all off season. That's just what we do. That's what our passion is. And if you come to Fresno State, you're not going to skip the work, and you're not going to skip the development. Yep.
So just from that perspective, why not throw deeper?
Well, I think one, you got to look at the contour of the defense, and they were playing some off coverage then. They were playing, and what you hope is you can make some hits and people break some tackles, and all of a sudden they can convert them into first downs. But I think it was also a timing issue. We needed to move quickly. So if we can continue to get 5, 6. I mean, we averaged 8 yards of completion on Saturday night. So that was probably, I think, our best night of the year as far as from a completion standpoint. I get the frustration. Yeah, I wanted more first downs too, but unfortunately I wanted them in the third quarter when we could have an opportunity to have more success.
How do you incorporate your running back, especially Luke, on the offense? You only have 4 carries.
Well, I think, I don't think we got to reinvent ourselves. I think you go back to, a week ago, he had 15 carries and 4 catches. So, we've incorporated him. Do we need to get it to him more? Of course we do. I just made the comment, we need to get the ball to our playmakers, and he's definitely one of those young men.
Have you been happy with the offense performance this season?
Overall, I've been, there's things that of course after every game and after a loss, it's extremely easy to become negative, and that's not where I'm at right now. I had great conversation with our offensive staff yesterday on things that I think we can continue to elevate, things that we can continue to challenge them with. But I think we've done a good job. I think we've seen an offensive line that's solidified going into the season. Not really sure what that was going to look like. We have a number of backs that we're really excited about. We have multiple receivers that are starting to make some plays, and a tight end room that has great depth, maybe the deepest one in the league. We needed just to continue to be consistent in our approach, and we need the execution still is going to what wins games. Am I a fan of Snoop Dogg? Probably a little bit. Some of his older stuff I would listen to.
And Coach, what kind of growth have you seen from EJ just on the field and as well as his leadership? Because I know you said when he made the change that it was leadership-wise and turning the ball over and all that. So how have you seen him grow in the few weeks that Carson was the starter?
Well, he never flinched, and I think that says a lot probably about him and about how he was brought up, his character. He was still in the facility just as much as anybody else was, if not more, even though he wasn't QB1 or didn't have the title. So he continued to pour into his teammates, continued to compete. Stepped out of his comfort zone a little bit at practice at times. You're exactly right. I did say that. Sometimes EJ was very. He'd make a throw, there'd be a catch, and he'd just turn around and walk away. And I saw him having more fun. Maybe he was faking it, until he made it. But at least he was pouring back into his teammates, and I do appreciate that because that's something that Carson does on a route. That's easy for Carson. Everyone's wired a little bit different. That's what makes life enjoyable and fun. Is we're not all the same. If it was, it'd be really boring.
I want to ask about the leadership on this defense with Jaden Pearson and
Yep.
Ousley and Hamilton. How have you seen them grow throughout this season?
Well, yeah, in terms of JP, you're talking about a young man that came here as a transfer, so probably was a little bit quiet and reserved when he first got here because he respected Fresno State. He understood what he was walking into, and I think just saw it as, before you can open your mouth, sometimes you got to listen and hear and learn, And as he started to make plays, as he made a bigger impact, started to take on more of the leadership role. AZ does a really good job along with Jakari in our back end. Cam Brock is another, just natural leader. Cam's one of those guys. AZ, JP. Well, if those guys walked in this room right now and you didn't know them, you'd be like, who are those guys? I bet those guys, they got their stuff together. And so, that's where I get, probably a little emotional at times because I want what's best for our football team. I want our guys to have an unbelievable amount of success because they earn it. They practice hard. They are committed to their teammates and to this program. And I couldn't be more excited about the young men that we have as seniors here. Because, year one, it's, you don't know what you're walking into. But I think our staff and the people here have done a really good job of creating some continuity internally.
We talk about the rivalry games, the trophy games. This one's probably the biggest, the battle for the Valley. What
Yep.
have you learned about this rivalry and this game in particular in your first year here?
Well, I probably haven't learned a ton yet. I know that, just by proximity and probably familiarity, a lot of our players know a lot of players on that football team as well. So it's going to elevate the excitement, the energy, the passion for the football game. Being just a couple hours away from each other, bragging rights. We recruit a lot of the same individuals, But the Valley. I mean, we have the V. We celebrated. We had a game this weekend to celebrate the Valley. So to me, there can't be this is as big a trophy as there is out there because that V, and the green V in particular, it is Fresno State.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Keeping in mind that you want what's best for the team, how difficult and why has it been difficult to make a quarterback decision from week to week and having to sometimes switch between quarterbacks this year?
Well, I don't know if you're just trying to do what's right. Both of them are highly competitive. I really, Carson and EJ are great young men, and when you do make that decision, someone is going to be impacted, regardless if you have a list of things that, hey, this is what we got to work at. They don't hear that in the moment, and so someone's feelings are getting hurt. Someone's being impacted, and like I said, I lead with my heart on my sleeve. It's probably something that I've had to learn to deal with, not make emotional decisions, not get hijacked by my emotions, but at the same time, trying to do what's best for the program. The program. We got to move this program forward. We are moving it forward. We'll continue to move it forward.
You don't seem too emotional. You seem very detail-oriented and calculated with whatever decision you made.
Wow.
So what did you see during practice last week that made you decide to switch?
Well, I think just, the things that we're always looking for, consistency, leadership, things I've addressed before in here. But again, having the opportunity to be firsthand, get to see it all. We videotape everything. There isn't a second of practice that isn't on film, and then having the opportunity to come in and watch it again.
How do you sell the team to play with high energy and high focus when one of their biggest goals this year is now off the table?
Well, I think that's because that goes back to getting the right people in the program, and that's partly on me. if you're playing games and the only one that's important is if you get to the championship, then we've minimized a lot of them, right? That's unfortunate that we live in a world like that where we get one opportunity this week, and it's the last regular season. It's the last guaranteed one that we have. We're keeping our fingers crossed, that we're going to go to a bowl game. Man, I would struggle. I would give anything to go back in time and play one more game.
Coach, what have you learned in your first season as an FBS coach this year, but not only as coach, but as a person?
Continue to be strategic in what I say, because we live in a world of 30-second soundbite, and we can manipulate anything that I said today to fit whatever agenda we want people to say. So make sure that I have great communication with our players. I'm going to continue to praise our players first before I talk negatively about anything, because they deserve it. They show up every day. They play unbelievably hard, and they appreciate one another. And that's our number one mission of this program, is have a genuine appreciation for every single person that's part of this program. And then I think getting to understand the league, understand how the league works a little bit. Now, of course, that's all going to change here in the very near future. So you'll start over a little bit, but a lot of the teams are going to be very familiar. Recruiting standpoint, recruiting landscape, how recruiting works in the state of California or on the West Coast versus the Midwest. There's some significant differences to it, which neither here nor there, just different. Just have a better feel for Fresno State and the standard that is here. We had nearly 100 former players here with the Legacy Tunnel on Saturday. I thought it was a good start to making sure that our former players are tied in with our current players, but also know that they forever have a spot to call home here. So I know I was a little bit vague and random right there. Once the season probably slows down, I'll have more time to sit down and critique myself along with the things that we did as a staff.
Speaking of the new conference, you went 2-3 against your new conference opponents. How do you kind of just take that into next season?
I don't know if I'm going to put a lot of thought into it right now. Probably, again, that's kind of a postseason thing. You start looking at schedule. I mean, we don't even know what our schedule looks like right now. So our priority right now is San Jose, finishing up this recruiting class, and then diving into the 2027-28 recruits that are out there right now, and continuing to make this program one that our fan base, Red Wave, our former players can be proud of.
What's been the biggest challenge you faced this far, just kind of leading the whole program?
I don't know if there's anything that just jumps out. I think probably, and this started back in day one, would be alignment. But we have multiple areas within a program. You have recruiting, you have personnel, you have video, you have strength and conditioning, you have nutrition, your medical team, your doctors, academics, all that, and getting everyone aligned. That was probably the biggest challenge early. I think we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer. Equipment would be another one, our equipment department. I think we're getting closer and closer to being there. But there's also ancillary services, right, on campus that you need to be aligned with. Admissions, other people academically across campus, the registrar, all that stuff. We need to be able to work together. This is Fresno State's team. It's the Valley's team. It's not my team. But if we can get everyone on the same page and working together collectively, I think all we'll do is continue to elevate the product and elevate the efficiency that we work with here at Fresno State.
Coach, do you anticipate announcing a starting quarterback before Saturday?
I haven't thought that far ahead, Paul. So,
We'll know when we know.
we'll get there.
And when you talked about getting hijacked by your emotions, can you help us understand how hard that is when you want to say something, but just cool off for a while?
Well, I just think, probably a younger version of Matt Entz or a head coach would have, and again, Taylor, I apologize if I wasn't very vague, if I was really vague after the game. You do a great job, and so it was nothing personal. But like I said, I have to answer these young men, and they're my priority. And so, all of a sudden, in a moment of emotion, and you say a negative, it doesn't leave. Social media, whatever's in the print, it's there forever. And like I said, I'm dealing with parents, I'm dealing with the student athlete, I'm dealing with their friends, their teammates, their agents, their circle of people. And I think sometimes it's just safer just to maybe check my emotion, take a minute, count to 10, whatever tricks that, your teachers used to give you when you used to get upset on the playground. I need to live, and I think it's wise because hopefully it shows our players maybe at the same time they need to do the same thing when they're in those moments.
And you talked about praising them before you're critical, and this is a week where we celebrate gratitude.
Yep.
So what are some of the things you're thankful for, and do you have any plans for marking
Yep.
Thanksgiving?
Of course, my family. We're kind of all over the country right now. My youngest son will be back in probably any minute now. I'm sure Mom is waiting at the door to see him. Our other son, Kellen, who's in North Dakota, will be spending Thanksgiving with his team as they enjoy an earned bye week this week and getting ready for the FCS playoffs. So my family, my parents were here this weekend. I had an aunt and uncle that were here this weekend. My college football coach was here this weekend. One of my best friends, Randy Hedberg, was here this weekend. So I have plenty of things to be thankful for. This week, though, and as you can tell, here comes the emotion. Here's the heart on my sleeve. But this week, Wednesday night, we're going to have a team meal. Our staff, their families, our football team, we're going to come together Wednesday night and share Thanksgiving dinner. Doing it Wednesday, so that way we can get right back to practice on Thursday. We will make sure they have time. We have so many young men that are from the area. Give them an opportunity to get home with their families, with their loved ones, and hopefully they're probably taking a teammate or two. I know there's a bunch of coaches that have plans or huge turkeys that are already thawing right now because we're going to spend it with our football family, and I think that's a good thing.
And what's your number one item on the Thanksgiving table that you look forward to?
Oh, man. I'm a huge mashed potato guy. Gravy is a good food group, so I enjoy it. I'm okay. Turkey's okay. I'm sure there'll be ham too, but I'll be more excited about just the company I get to share. I'll have part of my immediate family with my extended family, and I think the players know how this staff thinks of them. The emotion we saw Saturday night isn't one that you can fake. So it was good to see. It tells me we're doing something right.
You do the cooking?
No, I'm not doing the cooking. Not for this group. Not for this group. We're going to have it catered in. So
Or your family?
I will. There's times I have deep fat fried a turkey. I'm more of the Christmas holiday prime rib, crab leg type of guy that I'll do that. But I leave kind of Thanksgiving. Usually not for the last 30 years I've been busy on Thanksgiving with a team. So I've tried to let someone else do the cooking.
And can we conclude with your scouting report on San Jose State?
Yes. Really good. Ken does a great job. They play really hard. They play well. Defensively, I think their D-line is the strength of their football team. You look at their record, they're 3-8 right now. And I told our team this today, don't start looking at just numbers. They have lost 7 games by 1 score. And so you talk about a group that's going to come out. It's probably senior day for them as well, playing for the trophy. And again, everyone circles the Bulldogs. We need to be prepared. We need to be ready. We need to be efficient and effective and be ready to execute on Saturday. I think they had some injuries on the offensive side of the ball, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that impacts them. But I do think the young man that finished the game against San Diego State does provide some challenges, has a big, strong arm, but is more than capable of extending plays with his legs as well. They have one of the leading receivers in the country. I think they have 3 receivers that have roughly about 180 catches combined between them. So they're going to make you defend the entire football field. They do a nice job defensively of jumping in and out of some 4 down and 3 down. So we're going to have some answers in our run game or some things that we like against both fronts. So we're not spending all day trying to get in and out of the right play. As you guys know, there is no such thing as the right play. I've coached long enough in enough games that if there was, we'd have found it by now. The perfect play, I should say. So awesome. Thank you. Sorry, long-winded today.